Welcome back. Today in our Sunday Spotlight, we are in the heart of March Madness and thought this would be a perfect opportunity for a conversation with a sports writer to talk about eye-opening differences between the men's and women's facilities at last year's NCAA basketball tournaments. You may remember seeing this video. It went viral last year at this time, showing sparse weight rooms, that's it, for the women's teams compared to the much more well-equipped room for the men. Joining me now is Charlotte Carroll, who covers UConn basketball and the Connecticut Sun for The Athletic. She recently wrote a fantastic profile of Sedona Prince, who made headlines last year with that TikTok. Charlotte, thank you for being with us. This time of year, of course, would be a good time to look back at what happened a year ago. That is still a remarkable 38-second video. What led you to do this profile of her?
Yeah, no, I mean, thank you for having me on first off. But Sedona Prince is just an amazing figure in the women's basketball world and honestly in the NCAA tournament space and just basketball as a whole. So kind of coming into this year's tournament, really thinking about the stories that deserve to be told and what matters, and what better way than to reflect on what Sedona did a year ago and see what really changed and how it changed her life too.
I want to talk about what changed for basketball, but let's talk about how it changed her life. You have this 6'7" woman playing basketball out west. Maybe not a household name if it weren't for her social media success. Would you agree?
I agree. I think Sedona is big in the women's basketball world. Even before this video went viral, she was filing a lawsuit against the NCAA and Power 5 conferences related to NIL and just antitrust lawsuit. But she didn't have the household recognition that something like this draws. So this video put Sedona on the map and kind of changed the way people look at maybe Oregon basketball, even though obviously Sabrina Ionescu went there, but really added an extra oomph and another reason to look at Oregon and Sedona.
And you start off with an anecdote that her mom saw the video just before she was going to go to bed, and without even watching it said, this has to wait for tomorrow morning. And when she did talk to her daughter, Sedona said, "Mom, I did a thing." Well, she certainly has, Charlotte. What is that family dynamic like? This is a big part of what Mom has been instilling in Sedona her whole life, to be a strong, powerful female leader.
Yeah, no, Sedona's kind of been, her life has been leading up to this moment, and it kind of just happened all at the perfect time. And obviously for any viral moment, you need the right fuel to kind of go into the fire. But Sedona, being 6'7", she was bullied all of her life for being too tall, very tall at a young age, a little clumsy, a little unconfident. And then she got good at basketball and was kind of bullied for that. But then Sedona had spoke out against of high school. And kind of that's when her mom said she really stepped into being strong and powerful. And from there, Sedona was going to go to UT Austin and kind of sail into the sunset of her collegiate career and see what kind of happened next. But before she even took the floor as a freshman, she injured she met with USA Basketball in Mexico in August 2018. And so that turned into a different nightmare entirely. She had to go through an intense rehab process, which the family said UT Austin mishandled. And she actually almost died after an infection caused damage in her kidneys. So that really led her to transfer to Oregon. And in that whole process, she was kind of had to find her voice again. So when she got to Oregon, it was kind of like breath of fresh air, a little different space. And she had to sit out because her waiver was denied. So she had all this time to kind of figure things out and started TikTok. And then eventually that led to the year.
And as they say, the rest is history. We talked about Mom saying, "I'm going to wait till morning to watch the TikTok." By morning, Steph Curry had retweeted her on Twitter and commented on it. So, Charlotte, what did you find? And I want people to go read the article because it really is great. And the coverage on The Athletic is great. But just tell me, where do things stand now a year later? That maybe was the most well-known thing that happened a year ago, but there's been a lot of talk about this inequity between men's and women's athletics. What's the change in 2022?
So the spotlight that Sedona and other athletes put on the NCAA last year actually led to really big changes this year. NCAA hired an outside law firm to conduct an equity review, which led to different changes. Now both tournaments are being branded with March Madness. There's 68 teams in the women's tournament, just like the men's. And the NCAA held a media call a few weeks before this year's tournament, kind of going into detail all of the different changes that were being made and a spotlight on what to expect this year. I mean, same gift bags, same student lounges. So not only are they showing kind of what happened, but I think to spotlight that really shows how much there was inequality to begin with, and how much that video mattered.
One of the quotes in that TikTok is Sedona Prince saying, "If you aren't upset about the problem, you're a part of it." Is that sort of the takeaway she wants people to have, is that it's time to open your eyes? We got about 30 seconds left, Charlotte. What should the takeaway from this story be as people tune in to watch women's college basketball over the next couple weeks?
Yeah, I mean, women's basketball is just as good, if not better, than the men's basketball. I mean, the product and the people and the stories involved. And Sedona was able to find her voice throughout her whole life and really make an impact. And just kind of, if you have a platform, use it.
Well, the Athletic is subscription only, but there's always a deal out there on social media, Charlotte. And Charlotte Carroll covers the UConn women, the UConn men, the Connecticut Sun, lots of Connecticut coverage on her Twitter feed and on the Athletic, and this great article on Sedona Prince. If you're a women's basketball fan here in Connecticut, I urge you to check it out. Charlotte Carroll, thank you very much for being with us here on CT22.
Thanks for having me on.
And that is CT22 for this week. Thank you for being with us as well. CBS Sunday Morning with Jane Pauley is coming up next. Have a great rest of your weekend. That's what I'm trying to say. We'll meet you back here in Studio A next Sunday morning.